What's happening, YouTube? Welcome to the Mr. Winslaw channel. I am Mr. Winslaw, your host, and today we're going to be discussing a very hot and controversial topic which deals primarily with God is evil. We are going to be discussing the Abrahamic God, yes, the God of the Torah, the Bible, and the Quran, and we are going to illustrate that this God is not only omnipotent, omnibenevolent, omniscient, and omnipresent, but omni-evil as well. So, without any further ado, let's get started, shall we? If we look at the definition of evil, it is defined as wrongdoing and wickedness. If we want to take a more in-depth look at this definition, we find that three characteristics immediately come to mind. Evil people are characterized by being very ego-driven and vain. They are also characterized as being very lust for death and suffering driven. And last but not least, they have a serve me and enjoy it or die attitude. These three character traits are traits that the God of the Bible, the Torah, and the Quran has in a huge abundance. Yes, he does. If we look at the first aspect, which deals with being very ego driven and vain, we see that the first three commandments out of the 10 commandments illustrate this. We see that he commands that there will be no other gods before me, there will be no graven images, and you will not take my name in vain. That's correct. The God of the Bible set these three commandments in motion. He had 10, but he wanted to make damn sure that the first three edified him and placed you in a position where you would always be trying to seek brownie points from him, where you would always be in a position of subservience to him. That is number one. Number two, when we see a lust for death and suffering, the entire Bible, Quran, and Torah has lots of examples, replete with examples that show just how evil this God is, how he loves to torture and destroy things. If we look at the Adam and Eve story where they were driven from paradise, when we look at the Noah's Ark story where he drowned the entire world, when we look at the story of Sodom and Gomorrah, when we look at the story of the Israelites when they were enslaved by the Egyptians, yes, the Bible is filled with examples where God loves to use death and suffering, or the assurance of it, more than he is using something that is very benign, something that is very helpful. That is how his true power is achieved. He is a God of fear. The only reason someone would get on his good side is because they fear him. They are afraid of what he's going to do or afraid of what he can have done to them. So that is the number two reason. The number three reason, a serve me and enjoy it or die attitude. The story of Job immediately comes to mind. This was the story where God made a wager with the devil himself to test one of his servants. Now, I don't know about you, but if someone is on my good side, if I have someone in my army and they are an outstanding soldier, I am going to do everything I can to shield that particular person from the horrors that are going to beset them. I'm going to make sure that every time they call in for help, I'm going to be there. Did God do this? No, he didn't. Hast thou considered my servant Job? A perfect and upright man is he. Yes, that is what God said, and God was also the one that said, take everything that is his, but leave his soul. Afflict his bone, that means his health, but keep his soul intact. Yes, this is something that God literally enjoyed. Why else would he do it? Job was the one who felt that God was doing something wrong, and you know what? Job, as a Bible character, I salute you because you had served God with your very best. And how did he repay you? Yes, he repaid you through pain and suffering. And you couldn't curse him and die, because if you did, he would send you straight to hell. If we look at the example of what God did with Jesus Christ, I know a lot of Bible thumpers don't want to bring that one up. However, this was his only begotten son, and he killed him. The sacrifice, which wasn't a sacrifice at all, because Jesus came back from the dead. Not a sacrifice at all, if you ask me, because a sacrifice means that you give up something never to see it again. It is going to accomplish a greater good, but you'll never see that thing you sacrificed again. Jesus cannot make that claim. In closing, YouTube community, please hear the words that I say. The God of the Bible, the Torah, and the Quran is evil. He may have a different name. He may go by a different set of ways and means that you worship him, that he is evil, plain and simple. Rely on rational thought. Rely on reason. Rely on the things that are not only going to prosper and promote you, but things that are going to prosper and promote us all. Because as said before, when the mind is engaged in critical thought, the truly miraculous will occur. From the Mr. Winslow Studios, peace.